I have started a few businesses in my lifetime, but this is the very first business I started in France, in a foreign country. And I have learned a lot about myself and why sometimes being a stubborn entrepreneur doesn't pay. In this video, I'm going to share with you why I say that. Thank you so much for tuning in today. If you have not yet subscribed, consider doing so and clicking the notification bell. What that will do is that will notify you each time I upload a video about moving abroad, life in France, or finding the confidence and courage to live life on your terms. My name is Patricia Brooks, and in 2018, I moved to the south of France from the United States. And I have since founded a business here. And in this video, I wanted to share with you some insights I've gained about being stubborn and deciding to get help when I need it. All right, so I want to start off by sharing with you a little bit of my history. I love a challenge and I love to be independent. I love to know that I can do things on my own. And one of the things I did way back in 2014 was I figured out how to design my own website. It was July 4th, 2014, and I set out to build my own website for my coaching practice. And I sat down, it was a long weekend, it was a holiday weekend, and I sat down with a tutorial video on how to create a website. And I tuned in, I did it step by step, and I was at the computer all weekend long. But by Monday, I had created my own website and it felt so good. It was so satisfying. Well, fast forward a couple of years, I've had the opportunity to create other websites. And with each website I created, it was less and less enjoyable, less and less of a thrill because it wasn't something that I did every day. And so I had to kind of relearn everything and it was frustrating. It was not the thing that I felt like I was best equipped to do. And the thrill of having succeeded at doing it kind of went away. So when I was designing a website for my podcast, I continued to design my own website, even though after the last website I designed, I said, no, I'm going to hire somebody. But I didn't feel like I had the money to do that, right? So I said, I'm going to save some money. I don't really have it to invest. I'm going to do it myself. And I tell you what, that was so hard. I look back at that and think, you should have just come up with the money because it would have been worth it. Well, I learned from that. What I learned from that was that I needed to hire somebody to develop my website for my business here in France. And while it was a little more costly than I had expected because I hired somebody here in the European Union and I had to pay the value added tax, which taxed on an extra 20%, I did it. I went with it. And I was so glad I did because while I still was engaged in the process because I had to provide the content, I had to do the reviews, I had to do all of that, I wasn't completely removed from the process. I didn't have to do the build. So money well spent. But sometimes we think that we don't have the means to invest in something that would make our lives easier. And we go about taking it on ourselves. And we find ourselves frustrated or annoyed or doing something that isn't as good as if we could have hired somebody. And we spend a lot of time that costs us in the opportunity cost of doing something else or being able to do something else. So that is what I mean when I'm talking about stubbornness. Have you ever done something on your own for the reason of wanting to be independent, to save a few dollars, or for whatever other reason you might have had and found yourself annoyed or frustrated or coming out with results that were less than adequate? Give this video a thumbs up if you've ever found yourself doing it yourself and regretting it later. All right. Well, so how does this apply to my business here in France? Well, I got the idea for my business back in 2020, and I decided I was going to do the research on my own and figure out what my offerings would be, what the pricing should be, all on my own. And I spent a lot of time kind of spinning my wheels, not getting very far, creating an offer that just didn't resonate with people. And I was starting to feel a little bit anxious because I knew that I needed to have a business plan that the authorities would see as viable. And with the results I was getting from my research, that was not going to be possible. So I was introduced to a coach and a program that could help me. They said they could help me, but it was $5,000 at the time. And I was still living off of my savings. And so $5,000 out of my bank account that was dwindling just felt like an enormous amount. And I thought, can I do this on my own? Well, I watched a webinar from this program and it was really compelling. I got on a sales call with them and I'm like, oh, I really want to do this thing, but is it going to work for me? And they gave me 24 hours to think about it before the price would go up. And I consulted with my boyfriend at the time, and I was really scared. I was really nervous to invest that amount of money. But I am so glad I did, because it was, I wouldn't say a shortcut, but it really has given me a blueprint to build my business on. From investing in this program, it gave me a business plan that I used for my visa application a little over a year ago. That was solid. It has given me a way to do research and really understand what I am looking at, and designing a program that really is something that will be something I'm going to be excited about for the long term, and something that is scalable. It taught me how to optimize YouTube and all of these other things that if I were doing it on my own, it would take me years to get to the point where I am today. So I am so glad that I allowed myself to ask for help and invest in the help. Sometimes we, like with my website, we want to learn how to do it on our own. And that's okay. If you have the time, if you have the excess money to potentially lose by doing something poorly. But when you realize that it's not something that you want to do on your own, or that you don't have the time or the money to lose in doing something inadequately, then maybe it's time to seek out help. Now, you want to do your research and getting the help, make sure that the people that you're working with or the organization that you're working with is reputable and will get you the results. But often we just think, and I think sometimes women in particular think, oh no, we've got to do it all on our own. And that's not the case. Money being paid for something does not necessarily mean that you're losing anything. And money that you save by doing it yourself doesn't necessarily mean it does not have a cost attached to it. All right. So that is an example of how I started to come to the realization that hiring people who can help me to move through processes more easily, with less stress and more quickly, is the way to go. Another example of that is before I submitted my business plan and visa application, I hired somebody who reviewed my business plan. She has an organization that helps people start businesses in France, and I'll put a link to her information in the description. And she reviewed it and she gave me some tips about changing a few things here and there. And that gave me more confidence going in to my visa appointment. So sometimes we can feel a little bit stubborn and resistant to investing or spending money or circulating money when we don't feel like we have it to invest. But I'll tell you what, once we do, we recognize what a good investment it is. All right. So I just wanted to share that tidbit. I know that, You may be looking to change your life by making a move abroad, and you're considering, do I hire an immigration attorney? Do I hire somebody to help me with the visa paperwork? Do I hire somebody to help me get my mindset right so that when I land, I am in a good position and things are the way that I expect them to be when I land? And in any of these events, you need to assess, what it is you want to experience. But once you come to the realization that investing in something is not necessarily a bad thing to do or even the most costly thing you can do, then you can make a decision more easily. Now, you may be in the process of making a big change, and you might be tempted to do it all on your own. If moving abroad is one of those things, you might be wondering whether or not you should hire an immigration attorney or somebody to help you with the visa paperwork, or even somebody to help you to transition more smoothly to your new country. And you need to make that decision, a decision that's best for you. But knowing that investing in yourself and to make things go more smoothly, or to have the support or the confidence that hiring somebody brings is an option, can help you to make that decision. Now, I offer a program that helps women who want to move abroad confidently and sustainably move through fear and self-doubt and create and execute on a plan so that they can go from surviving in a country that no longer suits them to living and thriving in one that does. Now, if that sounds like you, I'd love to hop on a call and learn about your plans to move abroad and what might be holding you back, and if our working together could help you get there with more ease and flow. So if that's the case, check out the link I'm going to leave in the description, schedule some time with me, and I look forward to our conversation. Now, hopefully this video was helpful, gave you some new insights or some new ways of thinking about things. And if that's the case, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you again next time. Bye for now.